Hey everyone, good day. I don't know if it's evening, morning, or your time. It's been a while, but I've had this episode for a long time, and you just got to finish it. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you for sticking. In this episode, I have a discussion with Tolu. Now, Tolu is the founder and the host of the event BCB, and he held like last year and this year again, and it was nice. See, speaking with Tolu is a very, very interesting thing because Tolu, just like me, likes anime. On his wall, there's a really nice anime drawing of the red moon, and it's really nice. So on this episode, we talk about animes, his likes, the kind of tech that he's into, his job, his role, all about his personality, what makes him as interesting as he is, and the advice and lessons he has learned from that experience. I think it's a really fun one. Recently he just got an award. I'm not going to tell you until the end, just so that you wait to watch it to the end. But yeah, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of the internet, as you listen, may you be blessed.
How was it when we spoke recently? Was it on Monday or so? Say you were awake by 5 already. Is that like a routine?
But the routine is funny.
How? Explain.
It's I used to sleep for long before, but when I went to boarding school, I used to wake up by 4:30. I just sort of got accustomed to waking up early.
Nice.
But the reason I was awake was actually because I was watching anime. So it's not as if I was, because there's no one like top secret. So I was just watching anime. I wanted to finish a particular anime before the morning. So that was
nice. So you don't have say list of tasks and to-dos. I say I wake up by 5. All those alpha things we see on Twitter. I wake up by 5, grind till 11 a.m. From grind to 11 a.m. you do the next thing, like all those check boxes. You don't have a routine like that.
Well, naturally, I have, but I just to follow it. So it's there for me to know that, I'm supposed to do this, right? But it's not, I don't follow it religiously. And the things I do in the morning, after regular morning prayers, every other thing that comes in between can be a bunch of anything. It can be me trying to catch up on work before 9 a.m. because I resume my work at 9 a.m. And I usually have morning meetings at 10 o'clock, 10. So my day usually officially, professionally begins at 9:30. But let's assume that I used my nights to watch anime, and the things I need to put together before my meeting. So that period between while I'm awake early in the morning, I get to use it and attend to those stuff. Or sometimes I just get watch a movie. I have standard list of activities that I actually need to do, or that I draw out that I'm going to do this and that before 9 a.m. It's only on few occasions. That's on many more occasions than few. Let me just be very sincere. The routine gets interrupted by all that. But yes, I work. I work.
Makes sense. So when you say I work, you mean block, right?
I work 3 jobs. The same role. Similar responsibilities across. At some point in 2020.
Let's start from there.
Okay, at some point in 2020, there's actually 4.
Which and which?
But presently it's 3. I work for Wentors. It's a platform for professional mentorship for women in technology. I've been there since 2020. I work with Kanta. I think I started working with them in either 2022 or 2021. I'm not really sure. And then I work at Block. I joined Block last year. But yeah, I joined Kanta also last year. But I think February last year. I joined Block July last. The first one I've been there since August 2020.
So what's your role at Block? Because you said there are similar roles also. What do you do?
At Block, I manage comms and community. So communications manager slash manager. At Kanta. At Kanta, I work. I do what's it called? Comms also, communications lead at Kanta, and at Wentors,
let's go back to Block now. at Block, right, was like a really busy day.
A really busy day. A really busy day would be a day that we have, let's say, an event, or like more like a webinar or something. So because I manage community, it would mean I would have to have get the emails, have like a dry run, get the event starting proper, manage the event, and then when we're out, get to work on the recordings of the event so that the branch studio team. Aside that, my work revolves around majorly internal comms and public external comms. We have a content marketing manager who handles like social media communications, but things around press releases, announcements, communications, community members. If we need to develop a, let's say, a brand message document or a tone of voice, maybe we need brand strategy for a new product. Yeah, that would, aside that, I have a comparative issue at work. But it's a, it's funny because on days that people think I'm like, Tolu doesn't have a lot of work. Oh. Then I remind myself that Tolu, you have 3 jobs. So
You have to show up on the
yeah,
other one.
a free day at any of the two places means more time to catch up on tasks that I haven't like done, or tasks that I maybe like pushed to a later date. So that's like why I'm always busy. There are people
That's
that
very interesting. So I'll get to mentors and we mentors. Sorry, that's a very nice play on words. Yesterday night I was going through my script again. I was like Wentos. Like why? I was pronouncing it as Wentos, not toes now. Then I looked at it and I was like, wait, I know this word. It's just one alphabet that is missing. I was like, it used to be mentors and like it's a women organization, and then I removed the M and put W there. And I was like, damn, that's a really nice play on words. Like mentors. In my mind, I was like, I never ever like thought about
kudos
it.
to the person that actually came up with it. Like the
It's,
person did a solid one with that. It looks obvious, but it's
it looks obvious when you
really
see it. It's like those memes that you see and you can't unsee. They're just there. You just when you see them, like, oh, this is it. Now I want to get more to Block. I've read about Block. I want to learn from you now. Is Block like an organization that handles business finance? Say I have a company, like I have a business that we help podcasts, right? Edits, research, do everything in between. So the podcast host just sits and edits and just makes a podcast. They don't have to edit or research or do any of those stuff. So now we have an account where we keep money, but it's my account. Is Block like that kind of financial organization where for two business owners, you can just have one account, share that money? Because that's what I'm reading. I just want to just give me clarification on like the function of what
yeah,
that
that's
is.
exactly what it is. We're a business bank. We're a business bank. I think that's like the best way put it. However, beyond just business banking, we give businesses like SMEs, any business in general, right? Both like very large businesses and small organizations, and even startup, single man business, the ability to become a fintech while banking with us in that sense. So we have beyond business banking, or beyond this the case study you mentioned. Let's say your organization can leverage either our APIs or our no code to perform other services. So, but primarily, one of the predominant features we recently, which is copy you are reading might be recent updates, maybe emails and announcement that we pushed out within the last couple of months. It's towards the direction of our business banking solution that just recently went live, right? So yes, a business like yours can have one single dashboard where you can get to manage and reconcile all of your finances. You can have an admin account. You can have also like a super admin account whereby so you can monitor the transactions that is going on in every other department. Let me use that word, and every other thing, and it's all going to be this on the dashboard. So you know that okay, X amount of money came into this particular place, Y amount of money came into this particular place, and so as a super admin, you get to see cumulative of all of those transactions still on the dashboard, and everybody in that same sense also gets to see what's the word that the cumulative of those transactions on there. So, but to get to like explain it better, we have accounts, which is like a product um, 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 on our dashboard. Accounts simply, as as the name implies, right? It gives you the ability to like create accounts for yourself, and it also gives the ability to create accounts for your customers. Get that. Then you have another feature called sub accounts, which sort of like you can create aliases. You can create independent account for maybe uh, things that you want to get money. Uh, very name pop up that just came on. So you can get to create sub accounts, right? And you can get to create sub accounts. More like let's say let me use a scenario. This is one of the use cases of one of the organizations that presently leverage our product. They provide a banking solution for children, and naturally there's regulation that someone a person below the age of 18 cannot have like a standard bank account. So you have to have an account that is maybe either in the parent's name, and it's just for the child.
So here's just an advice. So before I move on from this topic of block, this is just it's not is that an advice? No, it's just an idea. Sorry, wrong word. It's just an idea. It's like, is it possible for Block to have an infrastructure that supports split payments? So I've been thinking about this for a while. I want to have a course, but then I don't want to have the money in my account and share it. I want everybody to see, okay, this person just bought this course, which is 100,000 naira. Since you have taken one particular lesson from this course, right? And that lesson, for that particular lesson, your share is like 10% of what the person pays. So as long as that course is live, people keep buying it from now to next 10 years, you still keep getting your 10% of whatever they pay for it. So regardless of how we increase the price, your 10% is still your 10%. So from your block, all I need to do is connect whatever payment infrastructure, say Flutterwave or Paystack. The person pays into the account. From there, Block automatically just say, oh, this money has landed, split it automatically into every individual that made the cost that need to collect that. So that way, I don't have to, nobody's saying, oh, you have not paid me my money this month, or I'm supposed to wait at the end of the month, all of that. I know that, okay, this is my own share, this is my own 20% left. Every other person have collected their own 10. So I don't know if that's something that Block does, or if that's an idea that Block could. You guys already have the infrastructure for it already. You could do it. I don't know.
Yeah, we currently have something like that. It's called bulk transfers. Um, it's a system that allows us to pay multiple people at the same time from your um, from your balance. So, and it's something that you can also get to automate. So it's the scenario in our head while that solution was being built was a big organization that has like many departments or many employees, and we are considering how salaries are being paid in some organizations, how that someone has to manually impute um, all of the details and get to run. Okay, you can call it payroll management, right? We have something like that effectively gets to help businesses disburse money to a large number of people same at the same time. So I think that's our bulk transfers feature.
Okay, that makes sense. That's nice. So in terms of branding, customers, and products, that was PCB basically. But that was the event I met you. Yes, now. I'm going towards that. Why was that? Why those three words, branding, customer, and products? I've read your article, so I basically know why, but then I want to understand why you are specifically interested in these three words, branding, customer, and products.
Well, each cannot exist without the other. Let me give you the original backstory. Right, the initial name of BCP was Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil is hard to pronounce, right? So we had to look for something. We had to look for in the second edition. We had to look for something that would be easier to pronounce. So brand, customer, and product was the first topic of the event. Yggdrasil, right? Yggdrasil is from Norse mythology. Is called the god tree. In Naruto, you know it as the chakra tree or the god. But in Norse mythology, it's tree that connect the three realms, right? The nether realms, Midgard, and what's it called? What is that place that Thor and Asgard, right? The tree that runs through those three realms. So that's the god tree. So the whole concept of Yggdrasil then was to address intertwined concepts in business. And so from my perspective, as someone who does brand and comms, those are three things that you never, or that will always, or that always have certain interplay. Right, branding will always have something to do with the customers because it is formed by, or a brand is basically people's perception about you or your product, and because you exist, how you get people to form a perception about you by the services you render, or which you could basically term product. Now, I come from a perspective that products are not only things like iPhone, or like they're not like tangible. Products are not always tangible in that sense. Products can also services rendered, right? But because in business we have separated it, we've like sort of like brought a demarcation. If it's not tangible, it is called maybe services. If it is tangible, it is called a product. If it is something I can sell to you that solves your problem, I can call it a product. But what for me, I categorize services like what a therapist would do for you, right? That's a product, but it's not as if she's going to sell something to you. But that session you have with her is also a product that in turn helps you form a perspective or helps you to have a point of concerning her. So for me, those are three things that are always have an interplay, regardless of the industry, regardless of the entity, and regardless of where or however you want to look at it. If people exist, it means that brands exist, and if brands exist, it means that services will be rendered. So those three things will continue to have an interplay. And so for me, that's like the whole concept from the onset, is to teach people about that existent interplay, because you get to see people just decide to focus on one. That you have some people, yes, with the belief that aesthetics is branding. They focus on aesthetics, and at the end of the day, they have very shitty customer relation. The other people who have top-notch customer relation, amazing branding, right? That's in terms of aesthetics and in terms of how they relate to their customers, but their product is like trash. And no matter how well people like you, right? At the end of the day, I'm only going to stay as long as you're solving my problem, right? I'm not going to recommend no matter how beautiful a product looks, and no matter how friendly their operations team or their people team are to me. If the product doesn't solve my immediate problem, I would not be there. If they don't have services that keep me there, I'll just be their cheerleader, but I'm not going to recommend them to anybody because I know their product doesn't work. I'll just like them because of aesthetics. Maybe when I'm talking to someone, I'm like, oh my God, you see one company like that where they're sweet and everything. That's like, and that's it. Like, I'm sure that's like where it will end. And really, and then we have people who have amazing product, amazing customer service, but in terms of aesthetics, they look very, very ugly in that sense. But again, aesthetics is not the centerpiece of branding. It's just one of the is just one of the many. And that's why we have organizations who, in quote, we believe have very ugly, or they look very ugly and unappealing, but they have thousands of customers around the world. It's because branding is not just aesthetics, and they've been able to hack the interplay between branding, that the perception people have of them and how they relate to their customers, and the services that they offer their customers, which is like the whole concept around getting to teach people or make people aware of that interplay, and bringing people their stories of how they've navigated that said journey where they present find themselves, etc., etc., etc.
That's cool. I think this makes sense, and I agree with you on to until now. I did sometimes think about them differently in terms of, oh, you just have to have a good brand. Yeah, your brand will be, aesthetics and service, but I've never looked at it from say, hey, the product itself is part of the brand that you're trying to build, like, because that's going to draw in the customers. So for you, what products has been very influential to you in terms of how you compare them with other products, how you like say, oh, this makes sense in comparison to this. Wait, really? Indomie.
Well, you can't blame me. I've been eating Indomie since I was a
Why?
child, and I'm still eating. But they've been there, right? They've been there. They've been consistent. We've had other people coming to the market. There was a time there was this noodles like that, Mimi noodles. They had a very catchy advert. Mimi noodles, come sha. But Indomie has Indomie.
Hey, you're doing Chef Dami's dance.
Indomie has done a lot. They have a story. They have this grass story. They're one brand that has grown with their audience. Remember when I was growing up, there was just this small pack of Indomie, but as people grew up and their appetites increased, I remember then I could eat about 8 of that small pack, and it was not and my parents get to buy a carton every week or every course. Imagine I eat 8, my other brother eats 8, my oldest brother eats 8. That's like 8 times 3, that's 24. I get it now. Yeah, that's 24 in one day. Right. So but Indomie, I think what they were able to recognize that so yeah, but Indomie was able to pick up the pace. Our audience or our customers are growing up, and there was the Indomie Super Pack. Our customers are still growing up. There was the Indomie Belefu. I think there was one. I think is it Belefu it ended. That was like where I stopped following their evolution, and I started buying the ones. But no, it was not Belefu. There was the Hungry Man side before Belefu, and then we now had Belefu. So they were able to match the growing appetite of their audience, and then they threw in variety. And I remember the time. So because there was that time where people felt like, guy, your noodles is too watery. I was like, and then all of a sudden we heard about Indomie pepper, the noodles that should be cooked for. Like it's the way that they it's the way that they looked at their customers and feedback and made it into product. There was Indomie pepper soup. Maybe probably for the set of people that like to pack pepper inside. They had products. They had products for. They had Indomie onion flavor. This one, like it's an evidence of a. Exactly. I think for me it's evidence that it's evidence that these guys were paying attention to whatever was going on with their customers, with their market, and that's one product that readily comes to mind. And then there's the sandals that I used for I think throughout my childhood. That sandals lasted me, I think, 8 to 10 years. But I don't know why they stopped, why they left the market. It was called Keto, KIT. I used it through my to my nursery school. So when I was in the village, that's when I got my parents got the sandals for me, and I used it for my nursery 1, nursery 2. And then when I came to Port Harcourt, I was using the sandals up until primary 5. Now the only reason I stopped using the sandal was because my leg was bruised. It was that durable. I'm like, and it was light. Like, it's not as if it was heavy, like, because of the durability. It's not as if it was heavy or something. It was light, and I used it everywhere. I used it to church. I used big ball. And the sandals was just there. But I don't know why I don't know where they are now. Maybe we found out. Maybe something happened to them. But it's really one brand that I really, really, really loved. But yes, that's Indomie. And then there's I have other examples, but let's stick with those two.
That just is nice. I remember this song from Indomie. Mama too good, oh, you too good. Mama will cook for me. You too good. She give me Indomie. I remember that song. When I was very young, that song was raining, and when they would, like, one woman would be in the parlor, she will cook, and then all the children come and gather her. That's a very interesting example that you gave. Indomie noodles. That's nice. I'm going to quotes because now you've mentioned so many things here that I think they are from, like, childhood memories, from you growing up to, watching. I'm very sure watching anime didn't start from, young age. Yeah, you've been an anime fan for a while. For you to follow One Piece, you have to be following them from way back. So now my question is, before I get to my question, I'm going to read out the quotes, right? And then you're just going to explain, just walk me through what you think. So, you have a little black girl with full hair, surrounded comfortably by 11 kids, all in differently shaped white nightgowns. Their eyes are wide open, intrigue written all over their faces as they gaze at the girl. I want you to picture this scene that I'm reading out. She's reading to them from a book with tattered brown pages, a story about how children dreaded the sea. On the right side, a burning candle casts its light, fading, stretching towards the left of the room. Then a matron woman enters, instructing the kids to go to bed and bringing a message of warning from the king and the queen. Shortly after the woman leaves, there's music of pirates playing in the background. There's chaos in the room. Kids are scrambling to put things together. White socks slipping into brown shoes. Bags and beds are all getting sorted to their respective owners. Amidst all this little girl, this black full hair, stands on a round window with her eyes like an old man that she has seen it all. With a big smile on her face, she looks down at the 10 kids and says to them, "Remember, live a great life and die a great death." This is a quote from the movie The Sea Beast. And this is your pinned tweet for a year on your Twitter. What do you like? What does it mean to you?
I've always loved adventures. A great life for me is a life with no regrets. And it would mean that all of the decisions I made and I will make, I will own them fully and accept the repercussions, whether they are positive or negative, because I have growing up, I stayed with a lot of elderly people, and I have seen men in their with their wrinkled faces and with their silver hairs, and then when they talk, their eyes are filled with regret. Maybe because they didn't get to live out all of the things that they wanted, to do, or maybe because they dread some of the decisions that they made. And while growing up, I just made that mental note and made that promise to myself that if there's one thing I want to live, if there's a way I want to live my life, I would want to live my life without regret. And for me, that's a great life. Now, and this is irrespective of the choices I make along the way, because in context, you can only know a bad decision or a good or bad decision in hindsight, right? And sometimes a bad decision can be staring at you in the face, and you'll be like, "Oh, let me take this decision." But
hello, people of the internet. Thank you for listening to this point. This is just a short break. I want to remind you to kindly like and subscribe to know when the next episode comes out. So the next episode is with Hannah, She recently this year graduated from a master's degree in design, and I was curious to know what they teach them, what's it like, and everything around that. So I sent her a message on Twitter. She replied, and yeah, she decided to have a podcast with me. It was nice knowing the kind of tools that you get to learn as a master's degree holder in design and all the fun stuff around it. So that episode will be coming out next very soon. To be honest, I'm not going to leave too much gap between it because the year is already coming to an end. But yeah, stick to get when the episode come out, and see you in the next one.
For me, I want to believe that whatever decision I would make, whether I consciously know that this is a good decision or a bad decision, I would not regret, and that's a great life. And if I live my life like that, it would mean that I'll die, which means I die empty. I die filled with no regret, and I died having lived fully and a life of impact. Because I believe that's like the best way a man can live. I don't know all of the many decisions that I will be faced with, but I can choose to not regret the outcome of those decisions, whether they turn out to be things that were enjoyable or things that made me suffer. That's a great life.
Interesting. I like that perspective. It's nice. There is another quote of you become what you consume. You mentioned about being in Port Harcourt, right? Your environment growing up, the things that you found yourself consuming as a child, right? Do you think they have like significant impacts on where you are, or have you made most of your drastic life changes from a younger adult age, or most of them came from when you were younger, like way younger, like from nursery school and all?
Predominantly, I made like 20% of I built 20% of my worldview living in Port Harcourt. But before I lived in Port Harcourt, I lived in my village, and I think for like a year or two. And I was very young, and the people I interacted with were people that were well advanced in age. You had people who were in their 90s, who were in their 80s, 90s, 100s, and all of that. So I got the privilege from very early on to see life from the eyes of people that had seen life. So it helped me shape, or it helped me not shape now. It became the foundation for many other principles I developed along the way. Now, coming to Port Harcourt, I think growing up in Port Harcourt, what it gave was the ability to be very conscious of my environment, because where I grew up in Port Harcourt was not, or where I started growing up before, by privilege, we were able to move to a more quiet environment. But where I started growing up was a place where you have to wake up and look over your shoulders, right? You're walking the streets. You're walking the street any time of the day, right? you have to look over your shoulders. You have to be constantly conscious of where you are walking, how you are walking, and who is coming behind you. So it helped me from early on to pay attention to this. And then my dad taught me something. He taught me not to get. He said that because I think at that time kidnapping was very rampant, and in quotes there was the rumor of ritual killings and everything. All of that. So one thing that at that time there was a strict instruction that you go to school, you come back the same route. No, don't divert. No, but we were children, right? Definitely we are going to divert. We are going to follow one friend to one place. We are going to go and swim in one river that our parents do not know, and all of that stuff. But my dad taught me to not get lost. And how he did this was that whenever we are going out, either alone, like just me and him, and my siblings, he always taught us to pay attention to landmarks. He would say, as we are walking on the road, you say, you see that school, waiting be the color of the paint, waiting be the color of the gate. Like those, like you'll be like, why I go to memorize color of gate? You would have very funny questions like, how many shops did this road? Like, we are just walking on the road. They asked me how many shops are on the road. Like, so it taught me not to forget. It taught me never get lost. So it was and adding to the fact that we live in a place that if you got lost, if you're not able to find your way home, you might never find your way home, right? Because there were people who were looking out for people a lot, right? And they'll help you find your way home. But it's not the home that you thought you were going to end up at. Like I've had friends who went missing. I've had friends who went missing from school. Like someone came to pick them that they did not know, and they just went missing like that, right? And so like growing up in Port Harcourt helped me to pay attention to details. And this is things that I applied in early lessons of not getting lost, being able to find your way back no matter what. Like even if it take you hours, you have to find your way back. How to find your way back home. So you have to pay attention to landmark, very ridiculous details, the tree that is growing there, the height of the tree, the number of people that were sitting under the tree. Like my eyes, naturally now, like my eyes are always moving left and right, even while walking on the road. Because now people will be like, Tolu, you're always greeting everybody. How did you see them? Like even someone that I've seen people inside a moving vehicle before and I greeted them, they're like, Tolu, how? But with the kind of training or with the kind of environment you live in, you would have to be able to see. And another thing now, if my dad says don't go out and you go out, you know that if he gets to the house before you will receive beating. So you need to be able to spot him inside the moving tackle or inside the moving vehicle. And that is coming. Exactly, that is coming. You need to be at home. You need to have gotten home. And so all of those things added. Yeah, and the experience of I think maybe that growing up in what seems like a dangerous environment. But yeah, that was just early on. Like later we were privileged to move into a more quiet place, and that was my first interaction with wealth. In the place we were now living at, so we had expatriates, Shell expatriates come to work in Nigeria. My mom served them as a cook or as someone who takes care of their houses. So at some point in time, we were given the privilege to come stay with my mom because they give her a quarters. They gave her a quarters inside the estate to like get to rest if because sometimes she gets to work out. So they give her a quarters inside the estate to get to rest, so that she doesn't have to be moving in and out of the estate and all of that. And it was also for like security reasons. So she had at some point in time, she had a boss who was very nice, and he permitted us to come stay in the estate with my mom. So every one of us moved in. My dad and the rest of my siblings, every one of us moved in. So we are living in an estate whereby the people who we mixed with were sons and daughters of the 1% of the 1% in the society. So we had billionaires and millionaires and billionaires in dollars working with Shell. That's oil was the thing then. So these guys were in money, and I think Obasanjo was president then, which means these guys were in so much money. So and we had the privilege to interact with their children. So I think that was my first interaction with wealth. Like I saw it, and I loved how it felt, or I loved how it looked from afar. Then when I began making friends with people within the estate, I now loved the feeling of, I loved how wealth felt like. So being able to walk into a house, playing rough play up and down, but I did not sweat. Why? There was easy life, like easy life, right? There was AC. There's such a thing called AC. The outside will be burning hot. And where we're coming from, if the sun is hot, you have off your clothes. You're almost naked inside the house. Because I said now I could go to my friend's place and stay the whole day. We get to play and I won't even break a sweat. And it was in my friend's place, one of the friends I made, that I got to know. That was my first interaction with computer, right? We had computer in school, but the only thing we did on the computer in school was Mavis Beacon to learn how to type. But I was in primary school and I did not know what the internet was, right? But here was this guy, the same age as me, and he basically knew his way around the internet. Like he knew how to spoof passwords as young as he was. Although this is a crime, right? But he knew how to spoof passwords or spoof Wi-Fi as young as he was. Which is just that like you could like crack into a wireless server, and like it was small. Like we are both small. I was in primary school, and this guy was doing, and like what he was using it to do was to download games from sites and everything. So, but at the best, that was still, and at then that was still something, right? So my interaction with him, or being privileged, growing up in that kind of environment, exposed me to what I now know as the internet. I learned how to navigate my way around the computer better, because now I needed to know how to play games, because my friend will always come to my house and be like, Tolu, let's go and play games. And I think one of the things that I also got to find out was that I also learned how to be a better human, because it is common in that type of environment for people to treat you according to status. Like, even people that were as poor as we were, right, treated us badly because they were in like positions of privilege. Maybe they were like a guard, a security person and stuff. Yes, sometimes they were just doing their jobs, but other times some of them were just being outrightly condescending. But I met one person that, regardless of all that he and his family had, they always welcomed me inside their house to come and play games. Their son walked barefooted to my house. He came to the boys' quarters to come and call me to come and play game in his house. But my mom was like, Tolu, you're always the one going to this person's house. And I from now I understand where my mom was coming from. How the fact that she didn't want the parents of the child perceive me as someone who was maybe trying to take advantage of the child, or because, again, it's the world we live in, right? But the child left his house barefooted. I came to my house. I came to beg my mother that he should allow me to come to his house, that he wants to show me something. It was just, I'm like, so people can actually be nice, welcoming, and kind, regardless of how much they possess in terms of material things. And that also helped me have a certain worldview. And now I have people around me from different levels. I don't associate with people based on what they own. I just associate with people because you're a person. I can talk to you, and we can become friends, regardless of where you are on the social ladder. And because definitely because I've been there, I know what it feels like for someone to condescend on you because of things that you do not have. Yeah. So yes, growing up in Port Harcourt was so those were like the experiences, a few of the experiences that shaped my worldview. But more importantly, when I found anime in 2009. Although, yes, I've been watching anime, but I didn't just know it was anime, right? But my friend introduced me Naruto. I think it was episode 268 we watched on that day. It was Naruto Shippuden.
Still remember it, 268. When you have this is just by the way, when you have a merch brand or something, right? Name it 268. That's a very good name. Just say it T268. It could be, t-shirts, merch store, whatever business. It would be nice. This backstory will be here for it.
I will put that in mind. So it was episode 268, Naruto Shippuden, and I watched it. I loved it, and it was close to his birthday. So what I did on his birthday was I bought him Naruto season 1. And I think they was
like, that's actually very thoughtful at that age.
I looked at it and I was like, Tolu, thank you, but I watched this one. I'm like, okay. And I was not thinking in my head. So when he said he had watched it, me, I don't have shame. Do you know how much that was 200 naira. I bought this 200 naira. Do you know how expensive 200 naira was to me then? I'm like, no problem. I collected it back. Since he had watched it, it was going to be useless in his house. So I collected the discs. I went to my house, and it was the beginning of a long and very interesting relationship with anime. So I watched Naruto episode 1, episode 2, and I just kept on watching. And I have been watching ever since. Case in point, I used 15 years to finish Naruto because I had to be waiting for new episodes. Sometimes it took them about 6 months before a new season will come out. But people that are watching it now, they have it easy. They can just sit down in their house and they'll finish 700 plus. So at some point I had to be reading the manga but yes, and then a lot of the things that shape the way I relate with people was some lessons that are drawn out of cartoons and anime, to be specific. But yeah, that's I think that's the answer to your question.
That makes sense. I was guessing. So I have a question here. Is to rituals. Will I say rituals, or more like the people around you right now, do they have you noticed that they have similar traits or some kind of traits because they also watch anime? I'm very sure you have people around you that watch anime and people that don't. Do you find any similarity that say, okay, this person, right, watches anime just like I do? Aside the anime, there's other things that are just very, very unique about them that you like, and that can be relating back to what they consume, which is like anime or stuff like that.
Yeah, so one thing about people that watch anime, we don't take life as seriously as every other person, and it might be owing to the fact that most of the animes we watch, the main character does not take life as serious. Yes, things might be going straight to hell, but there's just a comic relief. There's something somewhere, and I think for me, watching anime made me hopeful that no matter how tough or dire certain situations are, there's going to be like a way out. There are some animes that there was literally no way out. Like Akame ga Kill, everybody died at the end. It was only one person that was left. But but that's one in a million, right? But so yes, there's a way there's an outlook we have on life that it's different, and I believe it's owing to the fact that most of what we consume, there's this in a lot of animes, there's this relentless nature in their main character or in their protagonist that they're always faced with a lot of challenges, and they're very relentless. You see them working their hearts off just because they have a goal that they're pursuing, and they give their all to ensure that goal is achieved. Yes, are there things that come along the way and sidetrack them? Are there times where they've cried and they were weak? And yes. Are there times where they felt like they should just die? Yes, but at the end of the day, we find out that
Demon Slayer is one.
Sometimes someone has to remind them of why they started the journey that they are on, but you see that they pick it up. One of my mantras for life was from an episode in Naruto where they were fighting clones that were as strong as they were, right? So they met an enemy who could make dolls, and the dolls would be as strong as the character that they are facing when they stepped on a particular seal. So the dolls were as strong as they were, but there was in quotes, I was just going to use anime terms, there was a genjutsu placed on them to make them see the dolls as clones of themselves. When they were fighting, and they noticed that these guys are on equal strength with us, then Rock Lee now said something, because Rock Lee was on that mission, and I think Neji, Rock Lee, Naruto, and all of Team 7 and the other team, right? And so based on the analysis, they evaluated the time and everything. They're like, okay, these dolls appeared at so time, and these guys have been matching us in our strength and everything. Then Rock Lee now said something that we should be. He just said it'd be stronger than you were yesterday. He said it in Japanese, but that's basically what it is. Be stronger than we were yesterday. So all we have to do now to win these guys is to be stronger than we were yesterday. And right there, like how Asta would say, right then they surpassed their limits, right? And it's called the fact that even in very dangerous situations, very, very dire situations that look like there are no solutions, you can find solutions in them. Like just improvise. Be better than you were yesterday, even if it's by tiny bits. And that simple concept is what I have seen replicated in so many books. You find them talk about the law of compound effect. You see, and that's that law, that principle of compounding is what is just in that one phrase: be stronger than you were yesterday. And it's the mantra I think that particular episode, I saw it when I was in GSS2 or GSS3, and it's something that I've held on to for that long, and I think it's something that I also still hold on to for life. So regardless of the books I read, and if you tell me it's the law of compounding effect, I'm just going to remember an anime episode where they told me be stronger than you were yesterday, and that's because really that's that's the word you are trying to preach to me, that okay, I should be better than I was yesterday. So you can remove the stronger, right, and put anything there. Be faster than you were if you're a runner. Be more intelligent. Be more creative, right? Anything you want to remove, it shall just be better than you were yesterday, and it's the whole law of compounding effect. And yes, they won the enemy there of that particular scenario. So for anime lovers, right, I believe we are unique. Not really like a unique breed. I just we are people who have accepted the fact that yes, one thing, we don't take life as serious as every other person. If there's something that's bothering me, I'll just go and watch anime. If I can't think properly, I'll go and watch anime. If I'm stuck at work, I'll go and watch anime. If someone frustrates me, I'll go and watch anime. If I'm sad, I'll watch anime. If I'm happy, I'll watch anime. If I'm hungry, I'll watch anime. I'll go and watch the anime, right? And it makes it easier for us to like move on very quickly.
For some people, it's music. And it's just like for me now, it's music. I listen to music. If I'm sad, listen to music. If I'm bored, I just play game. I listen to a podcast, mostly like Les Friedman and some other podcasts I listen to. And that's nice. Then watch animes when I have time. That's nice. I think every single anime character, I think we humans also, is something that we should have, is like a North Star that you stick to. Every other thing is like the bits and pieces of getting to that place. Like the North Star. For Naruto, he wanted to be a Hokage. That was his goal. Like any other thing was just one step to becoming a Hokage. So everything was, I'm going to be a Hokage one day. I'm going to be a Hokage one day. Yeah, just having that North Star is like really prime and really, really important.
You're right. Yeah, the whole concept of having a North Star, it helps you focus. It helps you just it streamlines you towards that one point. So you're not distracted. You know that this is where this is where I'm going to, and this is where I'm going to, right? And every other thing either contributes to it or it doesn't. And the things that contribute to it, I'll take them up and work with them. And the things that don't, I'm just going to dump them.
Can you compare the way you think to can you compare the way you think similar to someone famous, like somebody that you adore?
I don't know. I don't think I can. I few people in the world that I adore, and there are a handful of them. My brother is on that list. Victor Fatomin, then my brother, and Prince Philemon. Those are three people that I adore in that sense. And yes, I don't think like them, but my thought pattern is a combination of having experienced how they think and how they see the world. And yes, and definitely is owing to the many years of watching anime also. In fact, anime taught me how to make friends. Let me just put it that way. I learned good English from cartoons.
Yeah. So do you have some sort of like ritual that you do? Say like it's a diet that you are constantly adhering to, like, hey, this diet, I must eat meat all the time, I'm eat milk, I'm a vegetarian. Do you have any of those rituals that you do, or like prayer in the morning, jogging, any of those stuff?
Aside from the regular, which is prayer, I read a number of books every year. Sorry, not a number of books. That came out wrong. I read a particular selection of books every year. I started this in 2020. I read The Third Door by Alex Banayan. Then How to Stay Like an Artist. Sorry, Stay Like an Artist, Show Your Work. Keep Going. That's the three books by Austin Kleon. And then I read Who Moved My Cheese. I read those 5 books at the start of every year. I wanted to add The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, but it did not want to be added. So I read those books at the start of every year, just to recalibrate my mind. And then yes, I ensure I watch anime every year, a lot of it.
Interesting. So for the books now, like why do you like Austin Kleon books? Wow, you read 3 of all his books. That's an interesting one. So why?
I don't, not like I like them, but I will not deny that I don't like them, right? But I love the concept of Still Like an Artist. The first time I read it, I just made a mental note that this is a book I would want to read. Always. I want to read every time. Then, then the sequel to that was Show Your Work, which means that a reminder that after all of the knowledge you have accrued, because in Still Like an Artist, I think the focal point or one major lesson I got from it is that creativity does not happen in isolation, right? It's an accumulation of experiences and knowledge that you've accrued over time to yourself, right? That's like the whole concept of Still Like an Artist. They say that if you are still like an artist, you are taking bits from a lot of people and making it into something that you can now portray as your own. So you are owning people's experiences and putting it out there like your own. A copycat will just copy verbatim and not understanding the processes behind it. And at the end of the day, you can catch a copycat, which is a thief, right? But an artist, when you see what an artist does with your work or by referencing your work, or if you say that, oh, I was inspired by this guy, if you see his work, you appreciate it, because that he didn't just copy you verbatim, right? He made it his own. There was this anime I was watching, Forest of Piano. Is an anime about Chopin, the music prodigy Chopin, right? And in the anime there's like an annual competition where people get to play classical pieces from like Mozart, Beethoven, and all of that stuff, right? But one thing for the protagonist or the main character in the movie, one thing that differentiated him from the rest of the people, one thing that made his own music stand out, was the fact that he made every sound he played his own. Now he's playing the exact same pieces that these people created, but he made it his own, either in how he stressed particular notes, or in how he just in the uniqueness, or let me put it this way, he poured himself into the creation of other people and made and transformed their work into his own. So you hear it and you know that, oh, this guy was the originator of this, but this version of it is just built. That's the whole concept of Still Like an Artist. Now, Show Your Work is that after you've achieved this, you don't just keep it to yourself, right? You share it with the world. You if it's music that you do, you share it with the world. If it's in the way you write, you share it with the world. If it's in the way you talk, you share it with the world. So it should not just be that you have accrued this much knowledge and you have this wealth of creativity and is lying dormant in your room, or maybe you're a musician who has made so many beautiful beats and it's just there in your archive. You play it to only yourself and your housemates every single day, and they're bored and they're tired of it, right? Put it out there, show your work. And then the third book, which is Keep Going, is that yes, so it's a journey, right? The process of stealing like an artist and showing your work is an ever continuous journey. So Keep Going just preaches that, oh, don't stop, right? You did it once, it worked, doesn't mean that you should relent. Now keep going. So do it again. Keep finding inspiration in other people's work and keep creating an original out of all those. Keep sharing it with the world and keep on doing exactly what you are, like what you've been doing. That's the concept of the 3 books. That's why I read it every year, just to remind myself, right? And then The Third Door by Alex Banayan is, for me, it's a story. It's not really for me whether it's or how I see the book. It's a story of how to recognize unconventional opportunities in the world, and that's why I read it every single year. Since 2020 when I first read it. So I read it this year, at the start of this year. I read it at the start of 2021. I read it at the start of 2022. Recognizing unconventional opportunities in the world. So the story starts with a story, or the book starts with a story about a nightclub, and it says that Alex Banayan says that life is like a nightclub, right? And everybody knows that there are two ways to get into a nightclub. You either have the main entrance or the VIP entrance. The main entrance is where every regular person, place where every regular person goes through. Like you buy your regular tickets, you buy your whatever ticket you get, right? You go in through the main entrance. Now the VIP is for those people who have like a membership card. It says it's like a black card. In life, you could call it those people who are born into privileges, right? Who would not go into, who would not an example, let's say someone like, it's just like how the children of the wealthy in the world still have access to like the most prestigious universities and all of those stuff, things that you get by privilege. It's not something that you can, if you don't have it, you don't have it, right? It's not something that you can walk towards getting and stuff like that, right? It's just what people are born with in that sense. Let's say an example is the environment you were born into. You don't choose that, right? The family you were born into, you don't choose that. Those are things that just come. So it says that the second entrance is just like that, where people have like a black card, a membership card into the club. Then it says that so in life, everybody who is not going through the other door would be going through the front door. So we have a world of conventionalities, right? You go to school. An example, a typical Nigerian home, they're going to tell you, hey, Tolu, you go to school, get a good grade, come out with a good result, get a good job, find a good wife, have kids, and get a good job, find a good wife, have kids, then you now repeat the same cycle for your kids, right? It's the same thing, right? And you hear it everywhere. It maybe in different variations, but it's the same gospel being preached to everybody, to every family. Go to school, get a good grade, do well in school, and stuff like that. Even until very recently, it was become an engineer, lawyer, or doctor. So you see, there's a world of conventional means that people have succeeded through, right? And because it is conventional, everybody knows about it. So everybody is struggling to get to that position via the conventional means. Now, the people who might not struggle as much as the people who go through the front door will be people who have the membership card, right? People who are born with privileges. If I am the child of Wole Soyinka, I'm not going to struggle to get into OAU, right? I just need to tell my dad that I want to go to OAU, and it is done. I had a friend who got into FUTA. Her dad is a king, and she had written the Positive and all of that stuff, and her name didn't come out on any of the lists. And we were just concerned about her, and we were like asking, so what are you going to do and stuff like that? We were struggling to do what are you calling it? We are getting what are they calling it? Change of course form, all of this one, struggling. We are not come out in this list. We are doing all of that. I just saw her one day. It's by mistake. I saw her dad's car driving to school. I didn't see her dad's car driving to school. I was at our Senate building, and I saw a car driving down, and I recognized the person inside the car. I'm like, is this not this person? And I waited. I just paused where I was, and I saw her dad come down. I saw her come down, and the dad was in full regalia, like this full kingship regalia, and he walked into the Senate building straight to the VC's office. And when he came down from that VC's office, the girl had admission. You can't compete with that. Come on. You can't compete with that. She had admission straight up, nothing. She resumed that day. Like it's not like I'll think about it, clinical kind of thing. She resumed that day. And the people we have let me not even use that story. I had people who I got a higher positive score than them get into the department of my choice. While me, I was struggling to get a change of course form because they said I didn't meet with cutoff mark. I'm like, how did this person I didn't take reach department. So there are those people who have certain privileges to compete with them, you'd have to work extra, like do crazy stuff, right? Especially if you're going to go the conventional route. Now, Alex Banaya now says that there's the third door that nobody knows about, or maybe people know about it, but they don't pay attention to it, right? That you might have to walk through a dark alley, maybe jump over dustbin, fight a homeless bum at a junction, just to get there. And he says that door is the kitchen door, right? Like at the end of the day, there's a kitchen at the bar or at the club, right? And there's a door. Like these people that work there, that's where they go through, because they can't go through the front, right? You can't carry dirty through the front door, you can't carry dirty through the VIP, or those who have membership card, you can't carry dirty through their own door. So there's that kitchen door, and for you to get in through that door, you have to do a lot of things, right? You might even have to sneak in through the kitchen. You ensure that the head cook does not see you and flog you frying pan and stuff like that. But then he says something at the end in that door is that's like the unconventional way. Nobody thinks about that. The few people that think about it will think about the stress associated with going through that process. Imagine having to fight the kitchen attendant to get into the club, or to maybe become friends with them over a long period of time or something. It's not the conventional way, so it's definitely going to be tougher than the conventional way. You have to do things that you will not think of. But it says at the end of the day, when we all get into the club, nobody's going to come and ask you, how did you get here? Yeah. So it says nobody's going to come and ask you, how did you get here? So whether you buy an expensive drink or do this or that, you are in the club already. Nobody's going to come and ask you, how did you get inside, right? Because you are there now. You are exposed to the same music, you can dance to the same tune that everybody else is dancing to. And it says that third door is what his book is about. And he wrote the story of his unconventional journey towards wealth, fame, and whatever. And so I read it. Well, right after I read the book, I held a dinner for 20 people I really wanted to meet in Nigeria. Right, I'm gauging my this thing. After reading the book, there were people I wanted to meet. People like Victor, Tunji, Bolaji, Charles Njoku, Pisitimi, Fumi Koka, like some specific set of people, right? Orifunke Lawal, Bukayo, like those set of people, like the people that I know, right? Or people that I did not know them. I just knew that they existed. They were making waves on Twitter, or there are people that a lot of people aspired to meet. You want them to be your mentor, XYZ, this one, you chat them up, people that were seemingly within reach, but at the same time, they are out of reach. Because, so that if I go to this event, I'm going to meet Victor, but that's it, right? If I go to this event, I might meet PCTini, but that's it. I can even follow her on Instagram. I can have an email address, but that's it. Like these people, by the end of the day, these people don't know you in quotes. They might know you, like they might even know your face and everything, but there's a difference. So I wanted to meet them. And in 2020, I was earning 30K from a job that I was doing. Towards the end of the year, I started earning 60K from 2 jobs. Maybe today I don't do 2 jobs, bro. From 2 jobs, they were both paying me 30K. So I came up with an idea. So in the book, there's this guy, Elliot, in the book, who was fond of hosting parties. And he does this stuff where he does something and so it somewhat brings like very prominent people together and gets to like host them. And I think a model of that was what I thought of. I'm like, okay, so how can I didn't really think of the how as at then, but I'm like, okay, so this at first it came as a thought. I had the privilege of being selected for Fast 7 mentorship then. And within that period, so I was thinking within myself, so what can I do? And I thought of it. I'm like, okay, why don't I host a dinner for all the people I want to meet. It's a stressful process, right? It involves money, planning, money that I did not have. Remember, I'm earning 30K. All these people, they're in Lagos. And if I'm going to do it, so I started planning, right? I tweeted about it. Someone reached out to me that, she lost the idea. She would like to assist me with it. That's Abby. She's currently in the UK. We've not spoken since after that. I think we just spoke for like maybe a few months after that. After she helped me out with that stuff. But she's an amazing person, right? She helped me with logistics. So then I designed the whole event. I planned it from start to finish. Booked the hall in Lagos. Paid for it out of my 60K monthly salary. Booked the hall in Lagos. Paid for it. But covered for drinks. Covered for food. Covered for gifts. I bought gifts for all of them. I designed the gifts myself. Printed it was just postcard. Designed the gifts myself. Wrote personalized letter on each of the postcards. This was about 20 postcards. On each of the postcards, sent it to Abby in Lagos to print for me. She delivered it to my brother's place, and I set a date. I reached out to all of the people I wanted to meet, set a date, confirmed the availability, went in a bus to Lagos and arrived at my event and watched my guests coming. And that was, they did not, for one, they don't know, Tolu did not exist in their world. An example, to Victor, I was Okwe's brother. That's like his Okwe's brother. Prior to then, they've never called me. Victor has never called me Tolu. In fact, he even forgets my name sometimes. Like, Okwe's brother. What's your name? And I have to remind him again. Oh, my name is Tolu. He's like, what's up? So so that's what I mean by you see them like, but you are not in their world. They don't recognize you as someone who is in their world. You're just there.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just another break. I want to kindly remind you to check the link in the description and subscribe to What's Podcasting newsletter to get podcast recommendations about interesting podcasts that you like or you're interested in, or you know somebody who likes. To be honest, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, with that being said, let's get back into it.
Right. So after that, what I showed them, I reached. So I was in Fast 7 mentorship, so which means I had access to Victor then, even for just the period of the mentorship. So we had a session, and I told him that I wanted to share an idea with him, and I pitched the idea to him. I'm like, Victor, I want to host a dinner for you, or I want to host you to a dinner. I'm like, that's you know how Victor is now. He's like, wow, that's a good idea. Wow, okay. What are you thinking? And I'm like, okay, this is the whole idea. I think I was even playing around the name then, Disembrace, whatever. But at the end of the day, I used the Japanese name for the theme of the event. But yeah, Victor was very supportive. I think the idea appealed to him, and I told him that if he wanted to have dinner with people, who were the sets of people, like if he's going to host a dinner, or if I invited him to a dinner and I wanted to invite other guests, who were the set of people that he would like to see in that dinner, and he mentioned a few names. I had my list. Luckily, some of the names he mentioned coincided with the names on my list. So, and I put together the names he mentioned, and I put together my own list, and I reached out to all of them. So when I reached out to other people, I'm like, hey, okay. I think when I reached out to Charles, I'm like, hey Charles, what's good? I think I still have the drafts in my Twitter DMs, because it's Twitter I reached out to most of them, because I didn't have their personal contact. I didn't know them from anywhere, right? It was just Twitter. So I reached out to them on Twitter. I'm like, hey, my name is XYZ. I am planning this. And so what I told them was that one, I wanted to celebrate the fact that I wanted to celebrate them by treating them to a dinner. Now, when I reached out to each person, I mentioned somebody that I know that they might either be friends or they've interacted with on Twitter, or they interact with often on Twitter. So I'm like, I'm hosting a dinner for people who have given so much to the community, just as a form of thank you. And I also believe that it's 8 months into the pandemic, right? that was when they just announced lockdown, easing of the lockdown, and people would be able to go out. 8 months into the pandemic, a lot of us have not seen each other, or a lot of you guys have not seen each other in a while. I felt that this would be a perfect opportunity to catch up, and I communicated the dates. They were like, okay, cool, no problem. So what I did was I'm like, oh, this person has already confirmed. This person will be there. And I just felt that it would be a great opportunity for you to catch up with them. And so that's it. So, and it was something that is easy for them. They're not going to spend any money, aside from the money that they use and transport themselves from their house to the event location or to the place of the dinner within Lagos. So it wasn't going to be an expensive thing, but basically that's what I showed to them. So yes, some of them knew that, oh, I'm going to meet this person as the some people knew that they were going to meet one person that they knew, but at the end of the day, when all of them came together, they found out that they actually know, all of them knew themselves. Maybe from Twitter, first, I think someone told me that this is the first time that they are meeting this person in real life, but like they've just been interacting on Twitter and everything. That was how I got them, like in code. From then, Victor started calling me Tolu, like he knew my name. Which is, it doesn't look like much. Like someone will be like, I was that, But for me, that was a lot. For me, that was a lot. I'm like, and from then I got like personal contacts of some of them, and like literally they knew me now. They knew, okay, this is Tolu. And for a very long time, I believe that whenever they would want to recollect what happened in 2020, that would be a very significant event that they're going to look back on. Oh, this stuff happened in 2020. Oh my God. Tolu did a really good job. And for me, I told one of my friends, then he's late now. I told him that because he asked me, it was someone I used to go to for financial advice and stuff, bless his memory. He asked me, Tolu, what's the ROI on this stuff that you're about to do? That Tolu, you're about to spend 150k plus that you don't have on an event for what? That was what he asked me. He was like, what's the ROI? And I was like, well, I've not really thought about it. It's not like an investment. I don't think I'm going to get the money back. I don't even think I'll ever get the money back or something. But I just want these people, I just want to be within reach of this set of people that they will be able to mention my name and say, hey, I know Tolu. And me, I'll be able to say, I know these guys, right? And that's really all. My ROI, what I really wanted was access. And for me, that's one of the most important things in life, having access to certain sets of people. You see, now the compound effect of what I did in 2020 is what happened in 2021, 2022, 2023. Now, for BCP, all of the persons that came, or 90% of the people that came, were in that room in 2020. And now I didn't have to, it was easy for me to communicate with them that, hey, I'm hosting an event and this is I'm like even before I even like put structure to the event, some of them have been like, sure, no wahala, we are coming. We're hosting it, we're coming. Yeah. Well, and when I hit somewhat like a wall in terms of finances, some of the sponsors I was expecting to send in money hadn't sent in money then, and I was intending to like fly all of them into Akure, but money did not come. I just went to meet all of them that see, there's no money. Say you will transport yourself. I will cover accommodation and feeding. Say you will transport yourself. And I'm like, sure, no problem. We are coming. And it's imagine if any one of these people would go to a place to speak, they are going to fly there. Like, because not really because they can't do road, but because of ease or because of convenience and some other things. And doing road is like, for me, I know that doing road is like waste of time. Anytime I'm doing road, I'm just knowing that I'm not going to do another thing, any productive thing today. That's it. And these people were coming in on a Friday. They were coming in on a work day. So it's not as if that. So some of them had to be working on the road. Some of them have to like push meetings. Adebola, when she came into Akure, immediately she got into Akure, she jumped into a meeting because she had pushed to the meeting toward the evening, so that she's projecting that I'll be in Akure by this time, I'll be able to have this meeting. So I think Victor still had a meeting in that night in his room, and some of some of the other persons that came. And what gave me that access, or what gave me that access, was what I did in 2020, which was an outflow of the book that I read. And many other things I've done was because I was able to. For me now, it's no longer unconventional. It's almost now looking like a norm that I see what people would find as. Yeah, I see opportunities where. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm able to notice opportunities in the most ridiculous of places, and it works in how I got the university's auditorium for the event at BCP. There are people I've connected with over seemingly ridiculous things that I did, and it's unconventional. It's not the few people that would think of it. An example: one of my friends wanted to go for Startup Fest, Lagos Startup Week, because there were a lot of, and he looked at not my friend, someone I know. He looked at the lineup of speakers and he was like, oh my God, I really want to meet all of these people and stuff like that. And I told him that, okay, why not host an after party for them? Reach out to all of them. It's going to be a stressful week. Like, these guys would have been speaking, and it was like a 2-day event, right? These guys would have been speaking, and I think it ended on a Friday or a Saturday. These guys would have been speaking from morning till evening. They'll be socially drained. Why not just host an after party strictly for them? Reach out to them, right? Ask, even if you will not get all of them, you might get at least 10 to 15 of them to confirm. And if at most, and it's not like they're not coming to do anything, they're just coming to come and chill. And I told him, go to a hotel in Lagos, maybe a hotel that has a pool that is close to the venue of the program. Speak to the hotel manager, ask him how much would it cost him to rent out his pool space for the night, because sometimes they don't give people their pool in the night because of safety and everything. But tell him the people that you can even just get to tell him 1 or 2 persons that are coming, and that you'd buy stuff from his bar, and these people you'd buy stuff from his bar and everything, right? And I shared with him that idea. I told him how he would go about it. The first thing he said was that, I don't get it. I don't get that time on you. I'm like, I told him that you might not even need to spend much. That the only thing you might spend on might be to get maybe to book the space, you can just maybe the lounge area for about 1 or 2 hours, and maybe the first round of drinks you would buy for them. I'm like, these people naturally, if all of these people leave this event now, they're going to most of them would go to a party, or maybe not a party, they'll just go to a lounge to go and chill off. Some of them might go to a party to just dance off the stress. Some of them will go to their houses and but one thing is sure, all of them would want to relax after the event. And they are not going to see plenty people. It's just them that is going to be there. And the only person that will not be them there, the access you want to see 10, 15 of these speakers. Why don't you just bring all of them to one place? They will have your time. Like, you are the one that brought them there. They will have your time. You get to talk to them, and the way you'll be talking to them, you're not going to be talking to them in their, I came as a speaker. You're going to be talking to them as their G, because they are relaxing now. They're like, and they'll be talking about things that might be profitable to you. Because at my event in 2020, I didn't know jack about what these people were saying. I was just listening in. They were talking about Ogbeni Sheyi was talking. I'm serious. Ogbeni Sheyi and Victor, they were talking about design systems. They're talking about one thing. Someone was talking about branding. Bukayo and some other guys were talking about money, finance, like how the flow of money and the market and the economy. I was just looking. All to my ears were different ideas. Like, and sometimes, and within all of their conversation, they were dropping ideas and everything. Me, I was just listening. The one I could take notes, I took notes. The one I could not take notes, I started just listening to everything. And at the end of this, they all started talking about football, which is fine too, because I'm like, okay. But there were things that, because they are friends, they operate on the same frequency. Even if they are not friends, they are maybe colleagues, or they're in the same industry, they operate on the same frequency. When they come together, they're going to share things on that frequency, and you're going to be privileged to hear it. And he didn't carry out the idea. And he said when he got to the event, he said he was just, he networked, he spoke to plenty people, he got plenty people's number. I'm like, there are tons of networking events that we've gone to. If you like, carry a phone book out of the event. How many people do you think you're going to call after the event and they'll pick your call?
Yeah, that doesn't work. I had an episode on this podcast where I spoke to someone and was talking about networking, like specifically just understanding like what networking is and around networking in events. And it's more like at the end of the day, if you go to an event and you network with the speakers and the people that are big, it's very hard for them to keep that network with you and even reach out to you because they have many more people that they're on their contact list that are reaching out to them or they are viewing their status. They would want to connect with somebody who has something to offer. Like, not necessarily you come to say, I have a job or I have something to do, I have this to give you. More like saying, on this frequency with this person, we like the same book, and that makes sense. Or we watch the same movies, or we do something similar. At least that person is going to bring value in some way because, as you mentioned just now, they share the same frequency, so they have the same level of conversation. You're not going to be misled by just having them on your contact list or having a connection with them. Going to the event and collecting numbers is not the best way.
That's true. And something related to what you said, the fact that you have like something in common. What that type of idea does for you is that it creates a common ground. Even if you didn't have anything in common with them, that type of idea creates a common ground immediately for them because they'll think of, the guy that you have communicated value in the most ridiculous way. Like, it's not a business opportunity you brought their way. You just helped them to relax, something that they needed at a very important time. So that's like, and it's an outflow of the book because Alex Barnayan shared different experiences in the book, how he got an interview with Steven Spielberg, how he met Larry King, how he met Bill Gates, different stories, and each of the stories were true, very ridiculous, yes, relentless efforts, but there are things that I'll just give one last I'll just mention one last thing from the book. He wanted to meet with Warren Buffett, and he because according to him, Warren Buffett doesn't take much meetings anymore, and at the time he was doing that, I think Warren Buffett has even closed out on meeting people in general. So he says that if anybody has any questions for him, they should come to a once-in-a-year conference that he hosts in his hometown. And he tried everything and everything, but what that did for him, what trying to reach Warren Buffett in the most unconventional way did to him was that he became friends with Warren Buffett's permanent secretary, and some other people that were close to him. I cannot remember if he eventually got that interview with Warren Buffett, but he got his interview with Bill Gates and stuff like that. But that's he met people like Mark Zuckerberg and the way it's just very ridiculous. And I've seen it work. I've seen it work for me. I've tried it. I've seen it work. So when I see that, okay, this is the way everybody reaches out to this particular set of people, I immediately I begin to think, what else can I do? What else is there? Okay, everybody has people use Instagram DM. What else is there? Has this person written a book? Can I summarize the book for the person and send it to the person as a pitch? I don't know if you know Uche Ugo, but when I met Uche Ugo is like a top personal branding consultant in Nigeria. He has worked with Adekunle Gold and some other musicians in Nigeria, and he does like personal branding for celebrities also. So when I met with Uche Ugo, it was a very ridiculous string of events, but to connect with him further, I read his book and I summarized his book. Like, it was not a summary, it was a feedback on his book, more like what I learned from the book, a feedback on his book. You know what I did? I typed it in Word document. It was close to like maybe 10 pages. and and I sent it to him. I got his attention. That's a stressful thing to do. First of all, the intention of reading the book was to learn from the book. Yes, definitely. But when I read it, I'm like, let me just write a review on it. Let me write what I learned from it. And I was writing. I'm like, wow, this is really paco. Like, okay, let me. What can I do? Like, let me just send it to him. I'm like, so I'd met him before in a very ridiculous way. He had given me his contact, but we're not parties, we're not friends or anything. He's not someone that would say, let me wake up today and chat Tolu up and say, hey Tolu, what's up? I have this stuff I'm working on. Come and jump on it. There's not someone that would do that. He just be like, I don't even think he saved my number then, because I was not seeing his status. So I was just another random guy that met him on the streets of Lagos and this thing. So when I read this book and I summarized it, I sent it to him. He loved it. Like, he said nobody has ever done that. That's something. He said nobody has ever done that. Like, who reads a book and sends a 10-page review for the book? And then the last book is Who Moved My Cheese. It's a book on adapting to change. It's a book on adapting to change. It preaches that the world is constantly changing, and we must be conscious of the change that is happening in the world, so that we are always prepared for it, stuff like that. So, and it's in line with the fact that when the world is changing, there are things that people will not recognize. There's the tendency for people to cling on to what they know and be rebellious to the change that is happening. Someone I know once made a tweet that when TikTok and all of these platforms first came out, like they had like a group created. All of them were like learning how to use the platform and learning how to optimize and stuff like that. That then it wasn't even a thing, right? For people to know how to use TikTok, or people were not like, even me, I'm part of the people that I'm like, what the hell is TikTok? Oh, remove that thing from my eyes. I'm still on that boat, right? But those people, they saw this change, they saw this innovation, they saw this new tool, and they jumped on it, right? And fast forward a few years, everybody wants a TikTok influencer. Everybody wants someone that understands the TikTok algorithm. The same way when Midjourney came out and all of these AI tools, there are still people who are rebellious to it, and there are people who have mastered prompt generation. And in the next few years, those people that have mastered prompt generation and all of those things, they would be in positions where they can call themselves prompt engineers, right? It's not a thing now, right? But in the next few years, it's going to be a thing. It's going to be something that would be demanded for. So new roles, I'm using tech because that's like the industry that we are in. New roles are going to be emerging. I think what's his name? Martin Niemeyer was saying how that in one of his book, how that the term brand operator was not a thing, but there was just something in his head. I'm like, okay, there should be something. It's not a thing, but he called himself a brand operator, I think then, and it was like, and now he's regarded as the father of branding, right, and stuff like that, because of many opportunities. If you listen to Matty's story, how he came to handle the branding of some of Silicon Valley's biggest organizations, it was also a very stupid and unconventional way, right? It's something that someone will literally see and say, yeah, either stupid or you're crazy. Those are like, or someone will just actually say you're mad, because like it. So that's like the whole concept of the book, and that's why I read them every year, because I don't want to forget what it feels like to adapt to change. I don't want to forget what it feels like to recognize an opportunity and cling on to it. Let it be that I tried and it didn't work out, but and that's like that falls back to my philosophy of life of having no regret. If I didn't do something, I'm not going to have a regret I didn't do it. If I did something, I'm going to put my all in it. And I told someone one time that because someone asked me that, Tolu, how do you reach out to people people. Like there are people I've reached out to that they look as if they're in heaven and me I'm on earth, and when I finally get them or get to connect with them or bring them on for some things, people are like, how did you reach this person?
That's fine by me. So yeah, we're already reaching the end. To be honest, this was a very interesting conversation. To be honest, before having this conversation, I had loads of questions because I didn't know if you would, you would be able to talk as much as you are right now, and I really, really love it. I like it when I have guests and they're just telling me stuff, and it's just nice because these stories I'm hoping for, and it's really, really nice. It's really fun. Thank you so much. I have very few questions that I want to ask you. Let's just like one or two, and let me think of So now, the last question that I want to ask, the first question from the last two questions. The first one is, if you had 1,000 years to focus and understand one topic, which would you consider to be the most
Human
fruitful?
psychology.
For you, that would be the most fruitful thing to spend 1,000 years on. That's nice.
Yes. Case in point, humans rule the world. I have a belief that, which is why I don't rate money. I have a belief that everything I need in life, humans have it, right? What I need money for, right, is to get resources that humans can get me, and even if I have the money, I would also get those resources from said humans. You can have money for something and you'll not be able to get it. An example: Elon Musk wanted to build. He needed some parts for his rockets. They didn't exist, so he had to pay people to create those alloys from scratch. But imagine those people did not say yes, right? With all of his money. So if he, in one of his interviews, he was like, there were some engineers he wanted to hire that would have made the SpaceX project way faster than it is going right now. There's some chief engineers he wanted to hire, so maybe some people from NASA and some other places, and they all turned him down. They had to hire people that didn't have that qualification and get to train them to the level that they would be able to manage the SpaceX project. But in quotes is that in all of his money, at the end of the day, he still needed humans to put all of his ideas to use. So why I want to understand human psychology is that I would want to be able to, one, relate with people better, more and more. I would want to be able to win people to my side, more and more. And I would like people, at the end of the day, people is all that matters in the world, no matter how much money you have. People that have a lot of money, they have a lot of money because they are serving a lot of people, either serving or stealing from a lot of people. But at the end of the day, the money comes from people. The money is not generated from thin air. What makes money valuable, what makes other resources valuable is because there are humans in existence to use them. So humans are predominantly the most valuable resource on earth, and understanding how the human mind works is one thing that I believe is the most profitable, and that's why I enjoy my job as brand comms, because sometimes I get to talk with humans. I get to talk with people. I get to understand how they interact with our product. I get to find or figure out how writing something in a particular way can evoke certain reactions from them, and it's just beautiful to see. So humans, I'll study humans.
That's nice. That's a very interesting one. I think that's cool. I like human psychology. I would recommend these not 3 or 4 podcasts for you. If you like them, based on our discussion, I think you will like them. Number 1, that's if you don't already listen to them. Number 1 podcast is How to Take Over the World. It's a very interesting podcast. They talk about great minds from history and how they are able to grow. Is a history-based podcast for business people, tech people, entrepreneurs. It's a very, very nice podcast, How to Take Over the World. The second one is Founders. Founders also reads books and talks about like books from people, from great minds, companies. It's a really interesting podcast I listen to regularly. Acquired, they study companies from the past and they break it down and they talk about them. And then the last one on top of my list is My First Million. There are still other ones, but like these are like go to My First Million. My first million is also on YouTube. If you've ever wondered how, just exactly what you said about, being able to see unconventional opportunities, my first million will break down unconventional businesses that are making people billionaires and millionaires, that in the wildest mind, you won't imagine that somebody is making 8K US dollars a month from just selling subscription for a timer. Like all they do is the timer application is already built. You just sell the subscription for it and they're making 8K a month from it. Different businesses are just racking money and they break out, they make their money, they sell, they talk to the different founders. And it's very interesting because them themselves are billionaires and they're just having this conversation. So to check out those podcasts, I think you will love them. I think it's nice. On the last note is, if you were to have somebody on this podcast, who would that be?
I have a long list of people. Yes.
Give me one person, then give me your list on WhatsApp. So I will go through all of them and just use that.
Olugbemiro or Payemi.
Okay. I don't know who that is. Maybe I know them from Twitter, but I don't know that phone.
Okay, you might recognize his name as Ogbemiro on Twitter.
Oh, he was at PCB. He was the guy that works at, I don't know, there's this company. He wore a t-shirt, was at PCB. He was talking about his experience of dropping out from school and learning how to code, spice things with somebody.
No, that's Ayomedia Regbede. Ogbemiro is one, he's my eldest brother. Two, his partner at Fort Canvas. He was their comms lead before he left. He currently works at PD as their communications lead also. And he taught me everything I know on branding and communications.
Okay. That's right. See, I'll find him on Twitter at what's let me have that down.
Ogbemiro. Let me just type it. I'll send it to you on WhatsApp.
So the names that come to your head, I say you have a long list, you can just send them to me so that I can look through them. But definitely having a brother on this pod. So thank you very much. If there's anything you want to sell to the audience or you want to push out to somebody you want them to know, you can just say it now because we've reached the end. And I really, really appreciate it sitting down with me. I think this is nice. I have gotten a piece of cake of who Tolu is, and it's really fun. You're more interesting than on the outside. Yeah, on the outside you look like this sharp guy that's wearing suits, but now like you have so many stories and it's fun. Like it's really interesting. So, is there anything you want to say, Sel? Let people know.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm really grateful for the opportunity. Well, anything I want to sell. Okay, yeah, so firstly, send me anime recommendations. Second, I'm working on a second. Yes, BCP24 is coming, right? Tickets will be out soon. Just, shall buy the tickets when they come out, even if you are not going to come, but definitely you'd want to come when you see the lineup of speakers and what we have in store. We have like 6 months to BCP24, so I'll be expecting you there. Now, finally, I have been planning to do a course on communication strategy for the longest time. I have my draft, so it's just to come out and say I want to do it. But yes, I'm going to be rolling out a course on branding and communications in the last quarter of this year. When it comes out, buy my course. Don't buy it, pay for the class. I don't like doing pre-recorded sessions, but buy my course, pay for the class, send me money, any of the above. All right, that's all I want to say. And use Block for your businesses.
That makes sense. Use Block, yeah. Yeah, I'll use Block. I'll try Block out and see. For me and my co-founder, let's see how that works for us. You guys, your virtual card works now, Abi?
Yeah, it's not yet live, but it works. All the tests we have been doing inside has been working, but it's not yet live.
Okay, that would be nice because we would love that. We pay for most of our services that we use online for customers that we record service for, book meetings for them. So it'd be nice to just have one card that does that. So using my card and the card and all those things. Yeah. Thank you very much, Tolu. This was nice.
Hello, boys and girls, people of the internet. Thank you for listening. I know it was a really long one. I'm glad that you reached the end. And yeah, to be honest, Tolu is a very interesting person to speak to. I enjoyed all the moments speaking to him, the books, the ideas, and stuff to do. I still have them written down. I still have them planned on how I'm going to execute them. Like especially the one of journaling down books, like the summary of the book, and sending to the person, and then letting them know, hey, this is what I've done so far. And I need you on my podcast, and that's something I'm definitely going to do. With that being said, thank you all for listening. Kindly subscribe to know when the episode with Hannah comes out. It's coming out next week. It will take time. Maybe 3 days from now, so I'll publish it. And yeah, I'm also going to publish an end of the year review, I believe. So stick around for that one. See you on the next one. Peace, people. Thank you very much.